Hey guys, this is Ben with Aqua Training Center here at beautiful Lake Pleasant, Arizona. And while we're waiting for the wind forecast to kick in, figured it'd be a good time to do a real quick short video on basic wing handling. Sort of what we would go through here in ground school if you took a private lesson with me. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to be using a lot of terms today, just throwing them out just naturally, but it will be helpful to talk about like the various components of the wing, so when you're watching this video you kind of have an idea what I'm talking about. Obviously, for starters, at the front edge, at the front of the wing, we call that the leading edge. And then in the center of the leading edge, you will usually have a center handle or a front handle, or what you'll hear me call mostly a neutral handle or a flag out handle. In the center, the inflated structure right down the middle that gives the wing rigidity, that is what we call the strut. At the very end of the strut, at the back of the wing, I will sometimes refer to that as the tail. And then of course we have the handles. Basically, if your wing has handles, I will refer to the front handles as the front handles. I'll refer to the back handles as, you guessed it, the back handles. And that's why I differentiate between the front handle and the neutral handle or the flag out handle, which is at the very, very front of the leading edge. Okay, so first and foremost, we always want to make sure that the wing is secured at all times, particularly if it's inflated and could potentially fly away with just the slightest gust, okay? And so what I mean by that, we always want to make sure it's anchored to something, you know, whether it's your vehicle, whether it's a sandbag, whether it's yourself, whether it's your wrist, what have you. You always want to make sure that that leash is connected to the wing at the connection point, and that the other end is always anchored to something solid that cannot blow away. The next thing, and in a related point to that, is that everything starts from the front. Okay, well, what do I mean by that? Whether it's just you're carrying the wing down to the beach to launch, or whether it's you're out there, you're getting ready to get underway, and you're trying to get to your handles, or you're actually, you know, you advance eventually to doing basic maneuvers. You're jibing, you're tacking. And when I say front, I mean the neutral or flag out handle, and then the front handle. Okay. What you don't want to ever do is try to maneuver anything without having at least one hand on either the leading edge or flag out or neutral handle, as well as the front handle. Okay, so we're first going to probably do, particularly if you take a lesson to me, we're going to talk about neutral handling. Okay, well, what do I mean by that? In most cases, I have the student just practice flying the wing off of the neutral or flag out handle, okay? Usually on dry land, of course, and usually just standing up. So the one thing I really want to have you take away from neutral handling is that this will come kind of intuitively for those of you who come from a windsurfing background. What you'll find is that the wing will automatically have its tail end pointing downwind, okay? And that can be very, very useful when you're trying to figure out, gosh, what's the direction of the wind right now? It's really messing me up. Just hold it up, fly it from the neutral handle, and allow it to do its thing. And you will automatically know where downwind is, and then you can from there orient yourself on the board and be ready to get underway. So the next thing we want to make sure we always do, we always want to draw the wing to us. We never want to reach for it, okay? We always want to draw it to you and then draw it again to get to your back handles, okay? Why is that? Well, as you can think of, is that dry land is one thing, but if you're out there on a board and you try to reach for a handle, chances are it's going to destabilize you and you're going to end up in the drink and have to start all over again. And we don't want that. So in this case, from the neutral handle, I'm going this way, draw it to the front handle, and the front handle then draws me to the back handle. Okay, next, a problem I see is beginners oftentimes, they think both hands and arms have to be moving together at all times, like they're connected or linked, and that's not the case. Both arms and hands work independently because their purpose is different in this, okay? The front hand or front arm is always just more for stability, whereas the back hand on the back handle is always for your power or throttle. And so I like to use that analogy of the Rock'em Sock'em robots. The arms move independent. Okay, so what we don't want to see is rowing machine, bench pressing, whatever. Let's try to avoid that. You'll be a lot happier. You'll progress a lot quicker. And like I said, the front arm is usually a little bit straighter. It's for stability. And the back hand is for power. You bring your back hand in, you'll find a lot more throttle, a lot more power, and that's how we get up and go. Okay? If it feels uncomfortable for you, feel like you have too much power, you're getting pulled over, what have you, you can always just ease up with the backhand. This is my backhand. You can ease up, or if it's really too much, just let it go. It's all right. If it's really, really too much, let both hands go. Obviously, if you're secured, let both hands go, let the wing fly, and it'll hit the water. Okay? What we don't want to have happen is you try to be a hero, try to hang on for dear life, and you get an elbow injury, or worse yet, a shoulder injury out of it just from trying to hang on to the handles too long, when you could just as soon eject, get everything off of you, start all over again, all right? We want to make sure when we're handling this thing, we handle it with respect, okay? Because there's a lot of power to it, or there can be. And so you want to make sure that when you're winging, you maintain a nice, athletic stance, all right? Just like if you were playing tennis or soccer or basketball or anything else like that. You want to really have a good, strong stance, good, strong foundation. All right, so oftentimes what we'll see with beginners is they'll find that their wingtips drop or catch or hit the ground. Okay. So what I usually tell people, if you find your wingtips are catching or are about to catch, basically punch out with your back hand, or you punch or try to punch the water, okay? And this will reflexively end up causing your opposite hand, the front hand, to actually go up, and the wing will actually by itself roll free and start flying again. Okay, so let me demonstrate. I'm gonna really go into the wind here. You see the wingtip drops? This hand, wingtip drops, punch, freed up. Okay, so now let's talk about some drills and exercises that I normally have my students do. First of all, on dry land, if the water and the weather is warm enough, we'll take this out into thigh deep or waist deep water. And so the first thing I'll have the student do, and kind of building off of one-handed flying or flying from the neutral handle or strut, is I will have them either on their knees, or if their knees are not very good, I'll have them in a squat or a crouch or a partial kneel. I will have them try and fly the wing strictly from the neutral handle, okay? And the trick or the drill is that they cannot have the wingtips touch the water. They have to be good enough at flying the wing one-handed from a low stance like that, or very, very close to the water or the ground, that the wingtips will not catch. From there, I'll have the student work on, depending on which direction they want to go, getting to their handles from the neutral handle, okay? And I'll have them usually do this in both directions of travel. And again, the idea or the catch is that they've got to be able to do it without having their wingtips catch. Or if their wingtips do catch, they're able to free the wingtips using the techniques or tips that I've shared elsewhere in this video. And then next, once they're able to get to their handles, I have them work on powering up very gradually, but getting underway, getting some momentum going, and thus some stability in their travel. And then once they are able to power up without having the wingtips or the tail catch, then I have them slowly stand up just as they would on the board in their intended direction of travel. And the point of all of this, as you might imagine, is to basically simulate what it is going to be like once they are actually on the water and on the board and don't have either the height or the stability that they do standing on dry land. And so the point is that the more they can kind of get used to this and problem solve, from whether it's being on their knees or whether it's in a squat or a partial crouch, the more comfortable or the more quickly they will get comfortable at being able to manipulate the wing, steer the board, get to their handles, get underway, power up, and be able to stand up in the flying position and hopefully be able to send it downwind and get up on foil on their first lesson. And the nice thing about these drills is that, particularly if you're new to winging or learning or just trying to progress, you can do this in your backyard or at the local park if the wind is up and you just don't have time to be able to get out to your local body of water. All right, folks, and that is my video on basic wing handling. If you're interested in taking a private lesson with me, feel free to drop me a line either at the email address or just shoot me a text at the number at the beginning of this video. We'd love to see you, love to have you come out. Until next time, this is Ben with AWKWA Training Center. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.